So welcome to another episode of Profits Resurrection Land Cruisers TV. Thought we'd start this one off a little bit different, driving the rig that we're going to feature a little bit later. And there's some other cool stuff in this episode, stop-its, tech tips. So stay tuned.
Well, in the auto world, this isn't something that most mechanics ever get to do. It's kind of unique to what we do here. And I'm actually hand cleaning this freshly powder coated frame just to get all the little dirt splatters and things off it so we can start from a perfectly clean place.
Because of no dipping.
No dipping. We don't install dirty parts here at Profits Resurrection. And like so many things humans endeavor to do, the foundations we start with often lead to the final outcome of your product. And so we want to start with the perfect foundation here. So I am enjoying this very much, getting to actually hand rub this frame a little bit.
This frame has been shortened and all of the body mounts have been changed so that a 60 series body will bolt right up to it. And just have a look a little bit at some of these body mounts. This is a body mount, and this body mount here are both handmade here in-house, as are all of the other 6, 7, 8 body mounts to support the 60 series body. This frame's also been shortened, and where we shorten it is right, hard to see. It's right here in the middle of this front control arm hanger. So if you look right there from the outside, you can barely tell, but that's actually where it's spliced, is right through the middle of this. And you can see on this side, this is what we just call a fish plate or a reinforcement plate to help reinforce that splice that's there. And there's also an internal plate on the inside on both sides of the frame to keep it nice and stiff. So this frame's also been set up with our Cummins R2.8 motor mounts, which are really cool and definitely different than a lot of the ways you'll see that engine mounted. And so this thing looks OEM, but it's actually, very, very different from an 80 series chassis. We love these cars. In fact, we love all vehicles. And so every once in a while we see something that just shouldn't have been done. And that's why we like to say, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm assuming that your AC compressor wire is not tied to your bypass wire and needs to be.
I have no idea what they're talking about, but I will tell you this stop it that we did. Now you have to tell us to stop it.
Temporary.
Stop. Yeah, I know. We had to buy a new one. Number one, because this looks stupid because it's too short. It's the one that comes with the engine. But number two, because it got kinked a little bit putting it on. And that is actually really, really easy to do. Kink a K&N filter. Like even at SEMA, Battle of the Builders, you go around looking at a K&N filter, they almost all have kinks in them. Stop kinking your K&N filters. K in K&N doesn't stand for kink. It stands for Kilgore Classic Cram Kill. I don't know what it stands for, but it doesn't stand for, now the fans are on. Cue fans. Doesn't stand for kink me, so don't kink your K&N filters. Stop it! Stop it! So this vehicle has kind of an interesting story, and it almost didn't even get built. A lot of obstacles in the way of this vehicle ever being on the road again. For one, it was at a different shop for a long time, and the work that was being done to it probably wasn't on the trajectory for actually ever getting finished, and then they couldn't finish it, and then when we got it, we found just so many things wrong that needed to be changed. So really good Land Cruiser owner right here that persevered and allowed this Land Cruiser to hit the road again. And it's fun, right? Like I even put on my beach shirt because we don't live by the beach, so we couldn't do this episode by the beach. But this is such a cool kind of a bespoke color, and the owner of it really digs it. And the rig itself is pretty unique and a really cool daily driver kind of FJ40. So let's check it out. So if you're gonna daily drive an FJ40, especially on the highways and in the mountains around Colorado, you're gonna probably want a drivetrain that's a little bit more modern. This one's just a little bit more modern. It was with the vehicle when we started, and this would be kind of an old school engine conversion by today's standards. This is a 1999-ish 5.7 liter Vortec. And we used to do a lot of these, and we actually haven't done one in like 10 years. But this one was, like I said, with the car, pretty fresh engine, so it made sense to keep it with a 4L60E automatic behind it. An engine conversion like this with an automatic transmission almost always makes it necessary to extend the wheelbase. And in this case, we did the standard flip the rear springs, move the wheel well back 3.5 inches conversion that you see us do on so many FJ40s. That helps this thing be a lot more stable at highway speeds. This Land Cruiser received our off-road front winch bar with an 8274 Warren winch, and then Saginaw power steering in this case because it just makes a lot more sense with the GM drivetrain. In addition to the extended wheelbase modification that's so common here, of course we also performed our suspension shackle reversal and an Old Man Emu 2.5 inch lift, but with Bilstein shocks because you guys know we love them. As this vehicle is going to frequent all of the hot fly fishing spots in Colorado and probably all the states around, we added a front runner roof rack to the top so he can mount his rod boxes. Kind of a step away from our normal Easy On K9 roof rack. I like that roof rack better actually because it's lower profile and it fits the roof better, but not available. So we went ahead and went with a front runner in this case. Still pretty decent rack. And of course, to complement the PRLC front bumper, we added one of our PRLC rear bumpers with the dual swing outs. In the back of this FJ40, you can see we went with the factory 1976 style OEM roll bar and jump seats covered in BMW leather. And then the coating on the floor of this is our standard 2-part polyurea spray liner in body color. This stuff is nearly indestructible, and so there's a lot of conversation about what kind of mats we can use, and I wish there were mats we can use, but there's almost nothing ever that fits. But the good thing is with this kind of coating, you don't need to worry about your floor getting damaged. So other than the color, there's a couple of other differences inside this vehicle that are a little different from what we normally do. One of them being these seats. So the client had these BMW seats, and he insisted on us using them, and at first I was kind of against it because I don't like when you take seats out of one car and put them in a different car. I always think that the mounts for them look compromised and the seats don't fit. But after we got them in here, I have to say that I was mistaken. These fit actually really well, and the fact that they're like 11 million way power means that you can lower them down to where they're almost at exactly the factory FJ40 height. And you can make them even passenger to driver, which is tough to do on a 40, and they're very, very comfortable. So good call on the BMW leather seats. Of course, we recovered all of the seats in a BMW leather, including the top of our PRLC custom Tuffy box. And the door panels are the same color, but I'll talk about those in just a second during the tech tip. A little bit about the Tuffy box. I get a lot of inquiries about that. So this is just a Tuffy box from Tuffy Security. They're available, you know, just about anywhere for like $300. But Tuffy Security has this sort of big poofy 1970s looking Playboy Mansion pillow that they bolt right here, and it's too cushion and too old school for us. So we build this custom top. All this is plywood, right? Cut to the right shape and covered with the same leather as the seats. And then we add this 3D printed bezel for the lock mechanism and a 3D printed tray for wireless charging. In this case, that's pretty much a standard addition. When the vehicle's running, you can keep your phone right there. It charges it right up. And then on the front of this one, we've got the switches to control the front and the rear lights that are integrated into our bumpers. And then there's also a USB port there for charging a couple of devices, and of course seat heaters. I guess I should turn those down because then I think the lights are green, and green is what this car is all about. So a couple of other things about the interior of this. One fun story and the other one just for your guys' information. So we used a tilt steering column in this case a Flaming River tilt steering column. I like them. I like the tilt columns. I'd kind of like to stay OEM over that, but if you like a tilt column, this is the best one. Don't ever get the one with the ignition switch in it. Those GM sort of mechanical linkage style ignition switches are cumbersome and a mess. I like the ones like this that don't have an ignition switch, and then we just use a factory ignition switch from Toyota, which you can still get brand new from Toyota with a key. So that's a way to keep it OEM. Then when you're using this kind of column, we think it's best to go with an aftermarket wiring harness. Now, you know I don't like aftermarket wiring harnesses, right? But in this case, it integrates so well with the steering column that we went ahead and used a painless wiring harness, and that's a decent way to do it, especially if you're already using a GM engine and some other aftermarket accessories. And all of that necessitates probably what I think is the coolest thing about this car is the click button brights and dims. I'll tell you what, if you drive a lot at night like I do, it's really nice to be able to have both hands on the wheel, or maybe one hand on the wheel and one hand on your cup of coffee, and when the oncoming traffic comes, I can unbright them or bright them as I see fit with the convenience of my left toe. I think that's pretty cool. So another thing that is worth talking about is this low car shifter. These are kind of cool automatic transmission shifters. This isn't the kind that bolts to the transmission. This is the kind that bolts to the floor. It's a cable type shifter. And they're really smooth and they work really, really well. This shifter actually saved a Land Cruiser from being stolen. It was a Cummins diesel powered 60 that we did, and it was in San Francisco, and it had a 4BT in it, which means you can hear it from like a mile away. And the owner wakes up in the middle of the night to the sound of his Land Cruiser starting, and he runs to the window and he looks down from his apartment building, and he can see through the windshield, and he sees that there's somebody in the vehicle, but they're not going anywhere for some reason. And so he takes off running down the stairs, ends up running to the passenger side window and beating on it. But what the guy was doing was he's trying to force the car into gear because of this sort of cleverly concealed button that you have to push. He didn't know that. And so the thief was thwarted by the transmission shifter, and he's not the only one that happened to. Another client, probably 2 or 3 years before that, got his Land Cruiser home. He came and picked it up after a restoration, got it home, and couldn't remember how to put it in reverse. It sat on his trailer for a couple of days actually before he was over the humiliation enough to call and say, "How do I get my Land Cruiser into reverse again?" And the answer is, oh, there's a button in the middle of the shifter, you just have to push that down. But anyway, a lot of stories around these shifters. So here we go. So these door panels are a set of factory FJ40 door panels. They are available new from Toyota, thank you Toyota, and they come in gray. Of course, these seats aren't gray. These would look funny if these were gray and there was no other gray in the whole car, right? So luckily, there is a paint available. It's a very expensive paint. This is from PPG. It's Elastomeric Color Systems. Bob ran the paint right down here so you can't see what it's called, but I think it's called Specialty Performance Coatings. And then you just take a sample of what you're doing down to the paint store. We have a big mixing bank, but we can't mix this stuff here. You have to get it mixed at a place that sells PPG paint, and probably some other paint lines have a similar product. But anyway, this is designed specifically to stick to vinyl, and these door panels are really durable with this paint on here. I mean, we just scuff them up with a Scotch-Brite and paint them. And this is extremely durable. You would think that painting vinyl, the paint would just come right off, but it doesn't. And so now we've got matching door panels, a lot better than if you would have covered them with the same leather. And here's why. If you try to make a door panel, you're gonna make the door panel with MDF or something that makes the door card itself, and then you're going to have to put some scrim foam on the back of the leather and sew that on there. What you wind up with is this sort of poofy, like bloated looking, ugly door panel that might fit in a 57 Chevy but doesn't fit in a Toyota Land Cruiser. When you can do something like this, it looks a lot more OEM, probably, even though this is $180 right here for 1 quart, probably just as durable, and that is the way we do our door panels, and that's your tech tip. Is this why they call them hot rivets?
This is it, hot rivets.
Hot rivets, yeah. That's what they call them. Yep. Clint came up with, this was worth coming back here to shoot this. Clint came up with an interesting solution to a problem that we have, which is replacing the rear frame member on this FJ40 So what's the process here? Tell me about these.
Well, I needed to make these because I couldn't get in from the top and do any welding.
We'll show that in a second.
Okay, so it's just a piece of 3/8 rod and this little mandrel. It's drilled out to a specified depth and then a hole all the way through a smaller hole to knock it back out. So you just swedge the top and then need a little cap tool after I get it down there to make a little rivet head.
It's a good thing this doesn't have a hole in it in both directions. Then you'd get in trouble for paraphernalia. This is you could have this on the dashboard of your car, and then you get pulled over. They'd be like, "What's that?" It's like nothing.
It's a tool.
It's solid. So this is the tool you made to swedge that down to make these. So let's go back and see what. Handy guy, right? Let's go back and see what they're for. So this rear frame channel needed replaced. It was completely bent. It's actually pretty common to have to replace this. And these are held together with those hot rivets going down from the top and up from the bottom, right? Yeah. So how do you fix it now without taking the body off? How?
Yeah, that's why I come up with this. So yeah, just come in from the top and then do a countersink this about a 1/4 inch in the hole, and then I'm just gonna do a real hard plug weld in the shape of a rivet head on the bottom. So.
A fake rivet head on the bottom of a real rivet.
Faux rivet head.
That'll look pretty stock.
Yeah.
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 That's a lot better than pulling the whole body off.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Live impromptu real-time tech tip video for a client that we're also going to put on the video for everybody else. Let's go. This is a good one. Chances are you've heard this scraping sound as you turn your wheel, as you steer, right? This one might do it. Let's listen, see if we can hear it.
No.
No, of course, this one's quiet. Well, lots of them aren't quiet, and that's because as you spin your wheel, there's one thing that has to stay in contact behind it, and that would be your horn pin. Your horn pin is a little brass pin that spins, or a copper pin, that spins on a copper disc, and where the electric current for the horn goes through it. Anyway, after a while, that starts going ee, ee, ee. So Eddie's going to show you how to get rid of that sound.
So I use my favorite tool, my pocket screwdriver and seal glide, and I just go right up here behind the column and get on that brass and just rub it. Then all you gotta do is turn the wheel. Just get it on the brass.
So you're wiping it on
the ring on the steering wheel.
The ring on the steering wheel itself. So towards the face of the steering wheel.
And it will usually, the noise immediately will go away after that.
And then it'll come back. This is like every 3 months kind of thing if it drives you. I could drive with that noise for the rest of my life at 10 times the volume and I would never even notice because I got too much going on in my mind, or I turn the radio up. But some people are very sensitive to it. All right, so now I actually have to video that on my phone to send to this other guy. So I want to talk about a new 3D printed part we have. This is like one of the most fun parts of my job, is developing 3D printed stuff lately. These Land Cruisers, I want to say 73 all the way up through 83, had this light switch. Only the later ones did this part of the light switch actually light up. But these are always really carky, and if you look closely at that one, it's kind of faded and the writing is bad and there's scratches on the outside, and you know, there's none around here anymore. Like, I don't know, we've gone through our bin of light switch knobs over and over and over again, always finding the best one, and then after a while, you know, what you have left is a bunch of junk. So we reproduced it. Check this out. This is our 3D printed replica FJ40 light switch. You can tell it's 3D printed because it's got that texture. These are a lot smoother, but from the front, I think it looks very, very close. And that's going to be available on the 3D Parts Solutions section of our online store starting tomorrow. So check it out. If your light switch looks like that or worse, now there's a solution. I've been negotiating with this guy to buy this FJ40 for like what seems like 3 years now. And it might have a little rust on it, but it's a 77. 77's a great year. And this is actually a Land Cruiser that is, it's not a one owner, but this guy's owned it since 1981. So it's probably a two owner FJ40. It's always been on the western slope of Colorado. Look at this beauty. I mean to tell you, and I'm excited. This is how sick we are as Land Cruiser enthusiasts, because I'm looking at this and I am excited. They go, oh, except for the upside down bezel. Other than that, I'm excited because this thing is like a piece of art. This is original paint. This would be considered patina. I don't know if rust is patina, but original paint, all original, unmolested, 1977 FJ40 that's probably lived its life in or around Aspen. Just stayed right there its whole life?
Yeah, it was owned by a celebrity that his friend bought, and then his friend...
Tom Cruise?
And now he's got it. Or that might have been the other one.
It's Tom Cruise's FJ40? It's probably Tom Cruise's FJ40. Anyway, and so it's been, look, it has got so much rust that the door won't even stay shut. This is a thing of beauty. Should we restore this? Check this out too. Start it. It's not starting it. Oh yeah. Oh baby, only an FJ40. Huh?
Where do you want it?
In my living room. Dude, walk, look at the floor. Lean back and forth like you were doing. Bounce a little bit.
I think Aqualoo comes to mind.
No way, man. This is all original. You can't, no, this is all original.
It is cool.
Look at even.
Air conditioning.
Thanks for going to get this for me, buddy. Appreciate thank you very much. Dude, it's sweet. Wait, this, and look, this is even right
the key in it.
out of my own. Yeah, this, I hate it when people take keys out of car.
No, because apparently it doesn't go in very easy.
Oh, okay, so leave it in it.
You want me to leave it in while I park it?
Yeah, but what if somebody steals it? Look at this thing. Listen, I'm telling you, like, this is really a testament to Land Cruisers. The fact that this thing is a running, driving, functional car. Maybe my daily driver. Is this the antenna?
No, it's the window. Yeah.
Does the horn work? No. It's got a ski, you know it's from Aspen, it's got a ski pole shifter handle. This is gonna be fun to rummage through. Look, even the manuals, even the paper's rusted. Oh man. This is going up for sale on the website. Check this out, Koi High QE. Well, I don't even know how to say that. I bet that rig could tell some stories, huh? So thanks a lot for watching this episode. Be sure to check us out on social media, Pro Cruiser on Instagram, Resurrection Land Cruisers on Facebook. ResurrectionLandCruisers.com is the website. There's an online store there, some parts, swag. Some of our Solutions PRLC special parts are available there, so check that out. Make sure you tune back, subscribe to the channel because there's 63 or 4 or 5 episodes up, and it's really the best Land Cruiser content on the internet. So spread the word. Thanks for watching. Kind of an old school engine conversion by today's standards, but a very solid engine, a Q Dog. Very solid.
Hey, Truman.
Maybe he can do it. What kind of engine is this, Truman? That's right, it's the sound it makes. It does go roar, 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 roar. Kind of an old, let's just keep rolling with it.
All right.
You can say something now.
Nope. Bob out.
A minute ago, Bob was animated and entertaining, full of verve, and now nothing. Flatliner. We missed it. We missed it.
Yep.
Hidden cameras. That's what we're gonna do from now on.
That's the only way you're gonna get GoPros.
We're gonna hide a camera in Ian's beard, and he'll just be like, "Let me see it. Let's see the camera."